You're watching Viewpoint. I'm Afrida Rahman Ali. It's a big day in terms of the debate that now grips the country around the issue of the Waqf Board, because today the matter has been moved to the Joint Parliamentary Committee after a 2 hour long debate that took place in Parliament. Here is a case where the opposition and the Treasury benches were bitterly divided. One part of the opinion is the amendments to the Waqf Board bill that was introduced in Parliament actually targets minority institution and religious freedom. The other side of the argument clearly is that these were reforms long pending, and the BJP government under Mr. Modi has only done what the Congress actually introduced in terms of reforms. So, thereby saying that if anyone has a right to oppose to this, Congress certainly doesn't, given the fact that they were the ones to introduce these reforms. What exactly are the amendments? What are the specifics? We will discuss all of that. But two major provisions are being hotly contested. First, the presence of non-Muslims in the board, and secondly, the introduction of women. So two non-Muslim members and two women members are to be introduced, and also there are provisions added which will ensure that there is a verification process before any land is given to the Waqf Board. Now, Waqf Board, as we understand, operates for those who donate land or inheritance for in terms of donation after say if they make a will and say that this is the property that goes after their passing, would go to the Waqf Board. So that sort of property is controlled by the Waqf Board. A lot of anomalies have been pointed out by various people, but I'm going to open out the debate today to the guests who are joining me at the moment. ZEENAT SHAUKAT Ali, women's rights activist, who is with me on the program. Good evening, ma'am. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Also joining me is Ali Daruwala, BJP spokesperson. Thank you, Mr. Daruwala. Good evening. Thanks for joining us here. So शुरू करते हैं अली दारूवाला जी आपसे कि ये जो ऑब्जेक्शंस लगाए जा रहे हैं सरकार के ऊपर कि इस वक्त वक्फ बोर्ड के ऊपर जो अमेंडमेंट्स लाया जा रहा है उसकी जरूरत क्या थी? व्हाट वाज द नीड टू हैव दीज अमेंडमेंट्स? Is it an attack on the constitution? Is it a draconian provision? Where do you stand on the matter?
Good evening, ma'am, Fridi ma'am, and I welcome the guest also. The bill that has been was tabled in the parliament today was a routine. It was a routine business that had to be done. The amendments were long due. It was not. They did not have the will or the skill to bring this parliamentary bill. We have got it, and we are going to push it. Though it was opposed, and they have recommended Kanimozi, and yesterday we had certain parliamentary members who opposed it vehemently. So they have asked us to send it to the Joint Parliamentary Committee. But I can assure you, this will pass all the tests, and the suggestions that the government has bought into this are totally pragmatic, practical, and what recommendations have been done should not have any problem for a clean-hearted, imandar parliamentarian. I can assure you, whatever has come in come with lot of discussion and lot of mind which has been applied to it, ma'am.
When you say mind has been applied to it, you must also be aware that the kind of objections that are being raised by the opposition parties, and I will play out some of the reactions that have come in. Say, for example, the Congress party says that bill is an attack on faith and freedom of religion. In fact, KC Venugopal says you are going for Muslims, next you will go for Christians and Jains and Parsis. Akhilesh Yadav also says that this is a bill introduced to appease BJP's hardcore supporters. Your response?
Not at all. Not at all. It is nothing. It is not communal. See, Waqf land handling of a property is nothing to do with religion. Let me make it very clear. My
Of course it
religion, my
has.
sentiments. No, one second.
Waqf
I will.
itself is illegal.
No, it's nothing to do with
Hold
my
on,
religion.
Zeenat ma'am, I'm coming
It
to
is.
you. Yeah.
It is. It is. It is a monetary donation made for the welfare of Muslims. Over here, when they say only welfare of Muslims, that is where the question mark is raised. Why only Muslims? When you're staying in India, why are you having this particular uh, thought that only a Muslim should benefit from the land or from the revenue or organization? When you're staying in the country, why not everybody benefit from it? Like you go to this big trust of Balaji Mandir, they're running hospitals where even Muslims, Hindus, everybody is getting treatment. You go to n number of shrines, n number of the mandir trust. Over there, they do not ask you for your caste, but then you put something like that only for Muslims, by the Muslims, for the Muslims. This raises the eyebrow. That was this was
Interesting point you are making. You are making a very interesting point, Mr. Daruwala. Just hold on. I'm going to ZEENAT Shaukat Ali, but before that, let me introduce joining us here on the program, Nahid LARI Khan of the Samajwadi Party spokesperson. Thank you so much, Nahid ji, for joining us. I'm coming to you in a bit. Let me just take initial reaction from ZEENAT first. Yes, ZEENAT ma'am, go ahead.
See, I tell you, in the first instance, what is a waqf? The points that have been brought out by my very able, panelist, when he defines it and he says this is nothing to do with Muslim, it's an Arabic word. Waqf
religion. Yes,
means
yes.
that you have donated a property for religious purposes, and that is irrevocable. Once you have given that, under Islamic law, once a property is designated as waqf, ownership is transferred from the person making the waqf, that is, to the waqif, and that is to Allah, that it makes it irrevocable, so it is religious. To say that it
Yes.
is not religious is incorrect. So let's start from there. And yes, that there are certain things that need modernization. I agree. And where those modernization aspects need to come in, they should come in. But to say that this is an act which is by its this very definition that is being provided by the 2024 Act itself can change the status. The definition can change the status of the Waqf Act, and therefore it is extremely unacceptable. The Muslims' freedom to manage religious affairs is challenged and unconstitutional because that is part of the constitution where a minority institution can manage its affairs. Thirdly, when you mentioned that there were non-Muslims permitted, now on a Parsi board, or on a Jain board or a Sikh board, does this mean that it cuts across all religions or is it only pertaining to Muslims? Now that again would make it discriminatory because you cannot just target one community and leave the rest out. There are
Directly, the
minority
point that is being made is that this is in the interest of poor Muslims. This is in the interest of women who are denied inheritance rights because the Waqf members, in a way, have been operating against the interest of certain minority groups within Muslims, and now they need to be given
अंदर जिस
representation,
तरह
and
से
that
वक्फ
includes
बोर्ड को
Muslim
अभी
women.
तक जिस तरह की
Sorry for that.
पावर्स
Yes,
दी
please
गई
go ahead. Go ahead.
I'd like to tell you that I was part of the Central Waqf Council as a woman. Madam Najma Heptullah was heading it
Yeah.
later on. And, Mr. Salman Khurshid was heading it earlier when the Congress was there, and then it was dissolved because the governments changed. There were three other women who are already on the council who were making very important decisions. And it's a very welcome thing that it empowers
Now,
women. I'm very
now,
happy. But I want you to, this entire thing that have been no women on the council and there have been no women involved is incorrect because there have been women involved and
now,
women have taken a leading role that includes me, and I've never been a silent viewer to what's going on. I always had my own opinions to add. So yes,
I'll
it
come to
is
you,
important.
Ali Daruwala ji. I know you have a response to that. I want to quickly hear Nahid and then come to you. Yes, Nahid ji, go ahead. I think you are on mute. You'll have to unmute yourself, please. Thank you.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are.
Am I audible? Thank you. You need to understand that why BJP is coming up with such amendments in Zool or amendments in Waqf. So you need to understand the reason behind it. BJP is a party which gave a slogan of 400 par. And now the condition is such that they are on Charan Prash with Nitish ji and Naidu ji. By Charan Prash, I mean कि उनके चरणों पर बैठकर प्राश ले रहे हैं, then the government is running. So they are on Charan Prash and Nitish ji and Naidu ji. In Uttar Pradesh, BJP became half. Their allies became SAF. And in
So how is
2027,
it relevant, Nahid? But
I
the
will tell
allies
you.
are
I will
supporting
tell
it.
you. No, you.
Huh.
That's what I said. That's why I said you need to understand that why BJP is doing this. Now in
Okay.
2027 elections, BJP is going to be completely washed out. Now what happened? That BJP has understood that they haven't got a single vote from PDA. PDA means Pichra Dalit Adivasi Alpsankhyak. They know that BJP knows that PDA is not with them. They know this very well. But what has hurt them and what has disturbed them more is that the community they considered as the JB voters. By JB voters, I mean upper caste Hindus whose vote BJP always considered is in their pocket. So there a substantial, a huge chunk, substantial chunk has drifted away from BJP. So now this has disturbed BJP. So now to lure them back, now to get their votes back, now BJP is coming up with this amendments in Waqf board. BJP is coming up with Nazul in Uttar Pradesh. They started on with Nazul amendments. So this is what they are doing. But least BJP understands that even the upper caste Hindus, who they have always considered as the JB voters, they have also understood about BJP.
How will
that
it now help
BJP
them get those voters back, Nahid ji?
no. I'll tell you. No, this community has also understood that Bhajpa means Bhumafia, Bhumafia,
Ma'am,
for
she's
Zameen
going
Chor
totally off
party.
track.
It's a
She's just
sort of dull.
giving
Yes,
No,
allegations.
I'm
I'll give
not
you
off
enough
track.
time to respond.
See, I
I'll give
didn't.
you enough time.
You need to understand why they're doing this. The way in Ayodhya, in Allahabad, which is Sangam Nagari, in Chitrakoot, in Badrinath, in Haridwar, Gangaji, the way all the gods give their Ashirwad to Samajwadi Party, to India Alliance, this has disturbed BJP. You see, you need to understand that all these things have started from 9th June. From 9th June, BJP is continuously doing such things. Now talk about
What is the point you are making? What is? Give me
I'm
two
making the point.
points that you are
The
making
point.
by saying
The
all
point
this.
is this. The point is this, that all this tamashas, all these notankis which BJP is doing, it is just to lure the votes of the JB voters back, but it will not come back to them. They're so disturbed with the result of Uttar Pradesh, the way BJP has become half. This is a
You
party
are
which
saying
gave
the
us
idea is
slogan
to
of Char so
polarize.
far.
The idea is appeasement,
Yes.
majoritarian
Yes.
appeasement.
Yes.
Okay, Ali
Second thing.
Daruwala, please go ahead.
No,
I'll come back to you. Let him first
Yeah.
respond to the points you already made. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
See what Nahid ma'am just now said, that BJP is what all names she called the party. This is totally not accepted. I am not in for this kind of the gutter debate what she is trying to do over here. I would like
No,
to
you
put my
cannot.
point.
See, this is a party which is talking about women, and he's saying whatever I
Hang on.
said.
I mean, we
He's
won't
talking.
believe
He's
it.
saying
Give
that
me a
I'm
second.
talking gutter.
The
Hold on.
quality
I'm.
of language
He's
you're
saying that
using,
I'm
Nahid.
speaking gutter.
Yeah, gutter debate. Yeah, I'm telling, I'm repeating myself. Do not
Just see.
indulge
This is
me.
the
Do
this
not
is the party
indulge
who's
me.
talking about Muslim women,
Nahid,
and he
don't
cannot
indulge
respect
me.
another Muslim
Do not
woman who's sitting
indulge
on the
me.
No,
debate.
let's
I
not get
One
definitely have
Muslim
to
woman
push
he
my
cannot
point.
tolerate on the
Nahid
debate.
Language
Kanji,
you're
hold
using,
on. This
the
is not how
language
we
you're
discuss
using,
topics.
and the
We
way you
listen
have
to
been
each other.
attacking
Go
the
ahead.
party,
Yes.
unparliamentary language that you're using, you please refrain from doing it. Let us talk point to point and pragmatically let us discuss, because the viewers of this prestigious platform are educated people. By calling them this, appeasement party, and we are just isolating a certain community, is sending a wrong message. Let me get to the point back now over here. See over here, what I was trying to explain, Zeenat ma'am, as to religion. Religion is different, and and the point and the reasons why this was formed was to give a financial support to the community. It's got nothing to do with religion, Islam, Quran, Hadith, and nothing to do with the Muslim personal law. This land was given so that the outcome from this is benefiting the Muslims. All what we are trying to tell you over here is, why only Muslims, when you're living in a country and
You
eating
have to get
food
to the
grain.
crux.
One second. Eating
Your
food grain,
definition is
even
incorrect, sir.
raised,
I have
even
to
raised
correct you on that,
farmers
but
who
that is not
No,
right.
I'm not able
yeah,
to understand when both talking
one
together.
second. Yeah,
Carry on.
Sorry,
Finish
exactly.
your
sorry,
No, I
point.
will finish.
sorry.
Zenathan, I will not speak in between. But let me put across what my party over here is trying to do is rationalize things. When we say uniform civil code, the law should be same to every citizen in this country. regardless of caste, religion, color, and creed. That is what we try to tell you over here. And what she's
But
come up with
there
a
are
book
minority institutions, there are temple trusts, there are
which are
all
having
sorts
respect
of
of God.
religious
Exactly.
institutions.
That's
There is
Yeah.
ISKCON temple.
One
All
second.
of these bodies operate in a limited manner where a certain section of that community is served. Now suddenly
right.
you want to open out the Waqf board to everybody, to all religion and all
No, no,
communities.
no, no, no,
Just
no, not
because you have
And
come to
that
the
also,
realization that there are lakhs and lakhs of acres of land on the Waqf board, which is
no,
second
not at
only to
all.
the railways and the armed
Definitely,
forces,
ma'am. Listen,
suddenly this has become an eyesore. And
correct.
now the idea is to limit the powers of the Waqf board.
Let me tell you
Is
one
that
thing.
is that the idea?
Just let
Because
me listen. I'll
every
tell you. I'll come
religious
over there.
community has dedicated institutions, Mr. Ali Daruwala. It's not an
Yeah.
alien concept.
Yeah, give me a second to explain myself. Just by getting
absolutely.
members, like what Zeenat ma'am said, council, being on a council, like what a government nominee council, and having women actually on the board of the Waqf, like there is a masjid, it has got 20, 21, 11 members over there. Over there, women are not allowed to be part of the board. That is what the
But women
BJP is
are
trying to
not
tell.
allowed in temple trusts as well. I don't know
Yeah,
of too many temple committees that have women
one
representations.
second. I was
These
part of
arguments I have heard over and over again, and they have been
correct.
countered effectively.
Yeah, listen,
But
let me tell you
finish your
something.
point, sir. Yeah.
Over here,
Yes,
yeah,
Mr. Raghavan.
see,
Yes.
just by getting members into the Waqf board does not give us the power of transferring the land to a non-Muslim entity. Let it be very clear. Just by getting members on the board does not give us the power. It is a power we need to go to the collector. The utmost, the supreme power given to the board is totally discriminatory. It cannot work this way on a land which is next to, as you said, two-third of the land, like not even two-third, like even the 50% of the land in this country is controlled by Waqf board. Have they need to do something good? Why not do it for the nation too? Why only for Muslims? That is what the common
Because
citizen
that's
wants
how
to
religious
know.
committees operate. But I get your point. I get your point that here is a need to create certain
Correct?
reforms and benefit a larger
Correct?
section of people, and
Correct?
we should not get into the whatabouteries.
Why
Zinat, from
always give it a
please respond.
why always give it
What
a
is the
communal
harm?
space?
Firstly,
What
what
is
is
the
the harm if you give representation to more minority groups within the Muslim community? And what is the harm if
110%?
you include women? And thirdly,
Women
Ali
are given
Daruwala
so much
says if you
respect.
have that sort of a resource available to you, you cannot simply appropriate it and only have a Muslim community benefit from it. Let's
That's
have
what I'm trying to
temples,
tell you.
schools, hospitals built for everyone's interest.
Yeah,
That
let
is
the
the
reform
point. This is
come.
the land
See,
of
as
the country. This is
education,
the land
the
that belongs to
education,
the
as
country.
people are getting
So let it be
educated,
a fair and
let
square
it be
deal
a fair
where
ground for
everyone benefits from
everybody
it.
to participate. That's what I'm trying to
I
put
got it.
across
I
over
got it.
here.
Let Zinat
It's
ji respond.
total
Let
due
Zinat ji
sentence to
respond.
Zeenat, ma'am.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
is very
Yeah.
right in what she's saying.
Okay. Okay. Let's
thank,
let her
thank you.
speak her
Mr.
mind. Yeah.
Raghavan, my point is this, that when there is an endowment, that is given, and when there is a Muslim endowment that is given. Now, for
Hmm.
example, you, Mr. Daruwala,
Just one second.
are a
I'm
party.
introducing YASOOB Abbas. I'll allow you to continue, but Mr. YASOOB Abbas has been waiting for a long time. Abbas Saab, good evening. Thank you for joining us. I will allow Zeenat ji to continue, and I have just added you to the program. Welcome, and let's hear out Zeenat first. Yes.
Yes. See, this seems, and I believe that I'm a very neutral, balanced person. I have nothing to do with politics. Okay, but when I studied it out, and because I was part of the council, let me tell you that it looks like an attempt to dispossess the largest minority community of the wealth that was meant for the socio-economic development of the community. Now, you understand that this is a community that requires help, that require, there is a lot of poverty, they are below, many are below poverty line. They require, so why is it that these these benefits should not be given to them when they have been given that land? Now, to say yes, of course we have to work towards the country. There are Muslim hospitals. It's not that Muslim hospitals will not house non-Muslims or not give them, or education institutions. It is who controls them. Now, when there are Hindu endowments, There are Hindus that are controlling them. When there are Christian endowments, there are Christians that are controlling them. Is this going to be cutting across, or is it going to be discriminatory? Because if you take one community and say, "Can you have this land and we have to cut across and you have to do this and you dictate your terms," are you dictating it to the Parsi community, sir? Because there is lots and
I will take a
lots and lots
response
and
to Daruwala, but I need to first allow YASOOB Abbas, General Secretary All India Shia Personal Law Board, to come in. YASOOB Abbas जी, आपके objections क्या है? इसमें जो reform, जो amendments किए जा रहे हैं, थोड़ा सा ज्यादा representation देने के लिए, नुमाइंदगी बढ़ाने के लिए, कुछ ऐसे मुस्लिम groups है जिनको नुमाइंदगी नहीं मिलती है वक्फ बोर्ड में, महिलाओं को नुमाइंदगी नहीं मिल रही है, उनको इंक्लूड करने की एक कोशिश है, और ये इंश्योर करने की कोशिश है कि जो भी जमीन वक्फ बोर्ड के पास चला जाता है उसका एक प्रॉपर वेरिफिकेशन हो कि सरकारी लैंड है, सरकारी जमीन है कि वक्फ बोर्ड की जायज जमीन है. तो इतना सा वेरिफिकेशन और रिफॉर्म और इंक्लूजन जो ये सरकार करने जा रही है, उससे आपकी क्या आपत्ति है?
देखिए, जहां तक मैं समझता हूं कि बेशक सरकार को करना चाहिए है, और सरकार जिन बिंदुओं पर कर रही है, अभी वो बिंदु हमने देखे नहीं है, वो पॉइंट्स हमने देखे नहीं है कि कौन से 40 पॉइंट हैं जिसको पर सरकार अमेंडमेंट्स कर रही है. मगर जहां तक के वक्फ बोर्ड की हालात है, वक्फ बोर्ड के हालात बहुत खराब और बद से बदतर हैं. वक्फ के नंबर को डिलीट किया जाता है, भू माफियाओं का कब्जा है, भू माफिया पूरी तरीके से वक्फ बोर्ड की जमीनों के ऊपर हावी हो गए हैं, क्योंकि बहुत आसानी से ये जमीनें उनको मिल जाती हैं. और जहां तक मैं समझता हूं, मैं जानता हूं, जब से मैंने होश संभाला है तब से यही सुन रहा हूं कि वक्फ तबाह और बर्बाद हो रहा. वक्फ माले खुदा, माले रसूल और माले इमाम है, और जिस तरीके से औकाफ को वक्फ बोर्ड के जिम्मेदारान जो चेयरमैन की कुर्सी में बैठे हुए, वो पूरी तरीके से वक्फ बोर्ड को जो है तबाह और बर्बाद कर रहे हैं. हमारे यहाँ उत्तर प्रदेश में शिया सेंट्रल वक्फ बोर्ड की जो हालत है वो सबके सामने है. मैं बिल्कुल अपना ज़ाती तजुर्बा बता रहा हूँ कि वक्फ के नंबर को डिलीट किया जाता है, और खाली वक्फ के नंबर को डिलीट नहीं किया जाता है, बल्कि जब कोर्ट में केस जाता है तो वक्फ बोर्ड पैरवी नहीं करता है, और जब पैरवी नहीं करता है तो वो जायदाद भू माफियाओं की उनकी हो जाती है, और थोड़े से पैसे में करोड़ों रुपए की जायदाद को तबाह बर्बाद कर दिया जाता है. जहाँ तक मैं ऑल इंडिया शिया पर्सनल बोर्ड ये चाहता है कि एक ऐसा सीनियर IAS रिटायर इसके अंदर हो जो पूरी तरीके से रेवेन्यू से वाकिफ हो और वाकिफ की मंशा से वाकिफ हो कि वक्फ जिसने किया उसकी मंशा क्या है. पहली चीज उसका ख्याल रखना चाहिए. दूसरे, वो रेवेन्यू के बारे में जानता हो, जमीनों के बारे में जानता हो पूरी तरीके से, तभी औकाफ बच सकते हैं, वरना नए नए कानून बनने से औकाफ बच नहीं सकते. औकाफ को बचाने के लिए बहुत सख्त इस बात की जरूरत है कि हम सब मिल के आपस में बहस ना करके इस जो माले खुदा और माले रसूल है और माले इमाम है, इसको कैसे बचाया जाए. मैंने खुद सेंट्रल वक्फ काउंसिल में बैठ के इसकी इस्लाह की कोशिश की है, और मैं खुद 3 साल सेंट्रल वक्फ काउंसिल का, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का मैं मेंबर रहा हूं, और मैंने इसको बचाने की जितनी मुमकिन कोशिश हो सकती थी वो कोशिश की है. बेशक आप लोग आपस में अलग अलग मुख्तलिफ राय है, हर सियासी जमात की अलग राय, मगर कहीं के ऊपर सियासत से परे कोई चीज होती है, कहीं के ऊपर सियासत से ऊपर उठ के कोई चीज होती है. लिहाजा सब मिल के ये मंथन करें, ये सोचें कि हम औकाफ को कैसे बचा सकते. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. मेरे प्रोग्राम लगे हुए हैं,
बने रहिए. मैं नाहिद खान से जवाब लेना चाहूंगी. यू हैव टू आल्सो अंडरस्टैंड नाहिद जी, यासूब अब्बास ने ये बात उठाई कि कई ऐसे ग्रुप्स हैं, आपके स्टेट से ही है, उत्तर प्रदेश से भी ऐसे कई सारे लोग हैं जो वक्फ फंक्शनिंग से खुश नहीं थे.
मैडम मुझे असल में प्रोग्राम में जाना है, और मैंने पहले ऑलरेडी कह दिया था, लिहाजा मैं एग्जिट हो रहा हूँ. मैं आप लोगों का बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ. थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you for making your voice. Yes, sir. No, I wanted to say that as you heard, there were aggrieved voices from within the community, and they actually wanted a restructuring and an overhauling, and they seem to be happy that is happening.
Afrida ji, YASOOB Abbas Sahab, he clearly mentioned that he hasn't read the draft. First thing, he said he hasn't read the draft at all. He doesn't know about the draft at all. He has no knowledge about it.
No, it is not about reading the draft. The provisions have been mentioned by the minority.
No, but he hasn't. No, let me,
Yeah.
give me some uninterrupted time. He mentioned that he hasn't read the draft. See,
read the draft.
again, this is not fair. This is not fair.
No, carry on. Ali Daruwala ji, hold on. I'm coming to all
No,
of
he
you.
hasn't
Hear you
read the
out
draft.
properly to understand your points. Yeah.
He hasn't read the draft. He doesn't know anything about the amendments at all. He was very clear about it. Second thing that he was talking about Shia Waqf board. Now you need to, I'm sure you also know, there are many Waqf boards. There is one Waqf board which belongs to 99.5% Muslims. That is Sunni Waqf board. And then there are other Waqf board like Shia Waqf board. And there's a lot of difference between these Waqf boards. There are lots of differences in the laws and everything. There's a lot of difference. So he's talking about Shia Waqf board, right? And
how different is it from
when you talk about something, you talk about a larger community that is Sunni 99.5%. I'm talking about Sunni Waqf board. See, I was hearing that, see what they have done in this amendment, they have given the power to the DM. Now, Honorable Supreme Court has just recently very clearly stated that none of the executive officers, be it SDM, be it DM, be it Tehsildar, be it commissioners, they do not have any role in the property dispute matters. This is the matter, wholly solely the matter of the civil court. So is BJP above Supreme Court? Halaki Supreme Court is supreme, but is BJP above Supreme Court that they cannot follow the directions of Honorable Supreme Court? I was also hearing that women, a lot of talk about women empowerment was going on. You were spot on in saying that women are not there in the Mandir Trust. You talk about the Ram Mandir Trust, which was made on the orders of Honorable Supreme Court. Honorable Supreme Court instructed the central government to make the Ram Mandir Trust. They did not include any person belonging to PDA community, Pichra Dalit Adivasi, who is 72%, whose population is 72%, because they hate this community. That's why. But they didn't even involve any upper caste Hindu in this, any upper caste Hindu woman. I mean, there's so much anti-woman that no upper caste Hindu woman was involved in the trust.
Don't you think there has to be a distinction made? Even though I said that point, I think that distinction must be made between a temple, which is literally a place of worship and a trust related to a place of worship, and a property trust of this nature. There is
just allow me some more. Just allow me some more time. I'll just clarify this matter. See, most of the properties.
Hold on, I'll come to
95% of Waqf properties are Qabristan, Masajids, Eidgahs, Dargahs. I know, I'm sure, I don't know about Mr. Daruwala if he knows, but you must be knowing, and ma'am must be also knowing, that women in Islam, women don't go to masjid, they don't go to Qabristan. So how we supposed to understand? We don't visit those places. Then what is the need of us being, a member for such a trust which deals in such places? 95%. But Hindu ladies, they visit temple. 80%, 90% of Hindu ladies, they visit temple. Then why they not in the trust? वो तो मंदिर जाती है ना, हम तो मस्जिद जाते नहीं, हम कब्रिस्तान जाते नहीं, तो हम ट्रस्ट में रहकर करेंगे भी क्या? मेरा ये कहने का मतलब है. लेकिन हिंदू लेडीज तो मंदिर भी जाती हैं और 80% जाती. Then why they not? Just one more minute. I have to leave. I have another debate. The other thing, if you're so concerned about women empowerment, then why don't you do 50% reservation for women in Vidhan Sabha, Lok Sabha, administration? Automatically, women will get representation.
What did you do when you were
everywhere? In everywhere. RSS women representation is not there.
Women representation and parliament bill तो पास किया नहीं, उसको लटका के रख दिया. तो ये महिलाओं के शोल्डर से फायर करने की जो एक कवायद शुरू की है बीजेपी ने, उससे महिलाएं खुश नहीं है. And they are looking, they can see through it. तो इसमें कुछ एजेंडा दिख रहा है, क्योंकि विमेन रिप्रेजेंटेशन, विमेन एम्पावरमेंट आपका मंशा रहा नहीं है बाकी मुद्दों में. सिर्फ मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी के लिए सडनली empowerment becomes an issue. It is not consistent with the BJP's policies so far.
Even you cannot see women empowerment in RSS. There's not even a single woman.
Let him respond to the point of representation of women in the Waqf board.
Correct. Over here, ma'am, I'd like to bring it on record. As she said that women do not go to the masjid. She will be surprised in India. We have got so many masjid which are been made specially for women. It is in India, but she's not. She is, really
I mean,
tarnishing the name of
anything,
Islam.
anything to
Yes, I will send you photographs.
Anything to
that would
prove.
be a very
Let me
small,
come back.
that would be a very minuscule,
No, but it has
number of
started. It has
mosques
started.
I
where
mean,
It has
women,
started.
for a
Right.
population
But
of
once again,
24 crore,
let me.
20% population, you're talking about maybe
bad
one,
name
two
to our
women who
I
go
don't
to
like this
masjid.
Hindi is
interruptions.
getting
Now
a bad name to
you
our
have to
religion.
hold on
Ma'am, let
because
me
we
make
can't
it
hear
very
you. Yeah.
clear. Please let me make it very clear. I did not speak or utter a word. Ma'am, in the world, the epitome of Muslims is Makkah. The epitome is Medina and Jeddah. Over there, Muslim women and men do namaz together. It is only in India where
So
it is
then you
not.
want
One
women
second,
in
one
Waqf
second.
board.
Give
That's
me
why
one
you want
second.
women in
Don't
Waqf board.
do the back
What a
and forth.
theory!
I am
Don't
moderating.
give
Now,
illogical theories.
I am moderating. What you are saying to Mr. Daruwala, I know when the time comes, I will raise those points. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Finish your point.
Muslims are definitely allowed. In India, we have masjids where women go. Over here, what she was trying to say that other religions, like in Hindu culture and all, it is a place of worship. Well, Waqf board office is not a place of worship. It is a commercial office where the buying, selling, leasing, whatever they're doing, development or even getting rentals and all that. It's an office where women can come and take part. Why are you keeping women away? Let them come in mainstream line. This is a welcome move. I expect. I need to say we welcome what Bharatiya Janata Party has said, not to blame us. Why all
Mr.
our
Daruwala
intentions
has
are
no
look,
knowledge
look,
about Islam
why
at all.
why
Daruwala
BJP
doesn't
Hold
have
on,
any
hold
knowledge
on. No, no,
about
I don't
Islam.
like
for the
these
religion.
undue interruptions. It disturbs the track
Yeah,
of thought also.
exactly.
So
No,
please
she
hold on.
wants.
Let him
She
finish.
doesn't have valid points to discuss. So she does this gimmick, the trick of
No,
calling
no, please
BJP
finish your
names.
point. Don't start
So
reacting.
our
Just finish your
with
point.
Sachi
Yeah.
Imandari say Muslim women Bharatiya Janata Party wants to uplift them. This is what we have done with Imandari. Point number one. Second thing, Nahid, what you said, like other trust where women are not. Forget about other trust. If something good is happening with our religion in our
Why should I
country,
forget?
it is welcome. Why can't we be the first religion to say yes?
Okay, I support
We
that point.
welcome
I
Muslims on
support
board.
that point
I
that why
wanted you
can't
to
we
say
be the
thank you so much,
first to show
emergency.
the way? Why can't we stop the whataboutery and see if there can be a more equitable distribution of wealth in society? And even if
Exactly.
it means opening it out to other poor communities of other religions, why, if the Waqf board is today so resourceful that it can give the country certain things which are of use to the poor, why should that not be made possible?
Yeah, I really
That point
welcome
I'm willing to
it.
take without getting into Hindus क्या कर रहे हैं, Christians कहाँ कर रहे
Yeah,
हैं,
this
वहाँ
petty
उनके
politics.
board में कहाँ
This is what
Muslims
I
होते
said.
हैं.
This is called
I
gutter
am
politics.
not concerned. Why can't the one community take the lead? Maybe others will follow.
Zeenat
Zeenat
ma'am
You
has
Shaukat.
know,
worked.
Wait,
She's
let's hear
worked so
everybody out. This
relentlessly
is
on the
not
board.
fair. I'm
I'm
not
sure
going to focus
Zeenat
only
ma'am
on
can
one
give
or
us
two
so
people.
many ideas to what to do.
Everyone should get time to speak. Zeenat ji has been patiently listening. Really respect that. Zeenat Shaukat, please go ahead.
My point is, yes, women should be on the board, and if they have not been for whatever their reasons may be, that should not continue, and women should be on the board. The positive side of it, I would like to take up, and I would not like to deny that fact that women should be on the part of every board. But right now, when I'm looking at personal laws, it's not only Muslim, but cutting across every religion. You find that women have always been on the down, on the lower heap. So this is not what I agree with. Women should take up. Women should be educated. Women should come forward, and women should be part
Thank
of
you.
everything that is happening. And yes, it's time now for us to be representative in Parliament, not put that on the backbench, but to take that, to take that matter up. Because when you're talking about the Waqf board, then when you are in power, sir, then you should have to see to it that there is women representation in Parliament before you start talking only about the Muslim Waqf board. See,
Yes.
and then also I agree that there should be women representation. There is no argument on that count. Now, you see, what my point is that when you're saying yes, that you give people and you take from people. I mean, you share with people and you show some magnanimity. Yes, you do, but it doesn't mean that your identity has to be taken away from you. It is if I, Dina Shaukat Ali, am giving, my right hand may give and my left hand may not know. But there are people who, there are representatives in the community who are sitting on that board, who already do this. Even the masjid, I believe, that is
Are you
being
of the
built, and
belief
there's a
that this
hospital.
is in any way impinging on religious freedom and minority rights? What is your
Yes, it
position?
does. It does because it is discriminatory if it is only for one religion.
Okay, okay,
There has to be an amendment and a law that cuts through all religions and say
okay.
every
That's a fair
religious
point.
group and every religious endowment must share and must give.
Okay.
I
So
understand that.
that is the
But
point I will take from Zeenat ma'am, that अगर आप ये कह रहे हैं कि जो भी endowments होते हैं, collect होते हैं, religious communities जो collect करते हैं, वो that should be open to everyone, then such a rule must apply to all communities. Then you
that's right.
cannot
No
single out
discrimination.
one community and say क्योंकि आपके वक्फ बोर्ड में इतना रिसोर्स आ गया, अब आप शेयर करोगे, ऐसा जो है वो डिस्क्रिमिनेटरी होगा. I take
African
that
ma'am,
point.
let me come in 1 second,
But I
please.
want to, 1 second, please let me moderate the discussion. I want to give everyone a fair chance. Nahid Khan, कहाँ है वो अस्पताल, वो स्कूल, वो कॉलेज जो मुसलमानों के अपलिफ्टमेंट के लिए बना हुआ है वक्फ बोर्ड की तरफ से? मतलब कुछ दिखना भी तो चाहिए for people to believe that this is a board that has been functioning and operating in all fairness, and there has been a social welfare sort of a the theme that they are operating with. That is not visible because I don't see that the Waqf board is operating towards upliftment of the downtrodden Muslims. The Muslims are as poor, as underprivileged, as uneducated with as ever. So why should people not question it? Ki what are you doing?
Afrida ji,
चल रहा है उधर.
Afrida ji, if BJP is so concerned about Muslims, as they're showing that they're really concerned about Muslims, they are concerned about their upliftment, then there's 20% of Muslims in the country.
17%.
According to Mr. Daruwala, 20%, all channels say 20%. अब आप ही जो 17% करें, चलिए.
It's between 17 to 18%.
Okay,
चलिए
fine.
17 to
We'll settle that figure in a bit.
18%. Okay, 18%. 18%. So according to that percentage, at least BJP should have made 4 or 5 ministers from Muslim community. At least BJP should have given at least 10-20 Muslim leaders the ticket during Lok Sabha elections. Forget about Vidhan Sabha, वो तो बहुत पहले हो गया, लेकिन अभी Lok Sabha election, they should have at least given 10-20 tickets to Muslims. If they were so concerned about Muslims. You need to understand that if this amendment they were doing in the Waqf, if it was so good, then why has this bill gone in the JPC? If it was so good, then why has it gone in the JPC? The reason why it has gone in the JPC, one thing, because Honorable Akhilesh Yadav ji and India Alliance and all the opposition, they rose their voice against this, the amendments. They rose their voice against the discrimination BJP was doing, against the polarization BJP was doing. And
It's a
second very
non-issue.
important point which I need to put in your notice is that BJP's boss, who's the boss? Who's BJP's boss? Nitish ji and Naidu ji. Nitish ji and Naidu ji, they said that, see, verbally we can support you verbally, but if it comes to voting, we are not going to support you in this. So that's why when their own boss, when BJP's boss refused that they will not support them, so that is why this entire bill has gone to JPC. So if it was so good as Mr. Daruwala is saying, then why has it gone to JPC? See, the other thing, I have been on debates continuously on this topic. Now, what the BJP spokespersons, even the big BJP leaders, what are they saying? They are continuously spreading a lie that in Waqf there is just the tribunal board. You can just go to the tribunal board. अगर वहां सुनवाई हुई तो ठीक है, न्याय मिला तो ठीक है, but then after that you cannot go to any other board. You cannot go anywhere. A complete, no, see, he's saying exactly, complete lie, total lie. It's a procedure. There's a tribunal court there. There's a tribunal court in the Waqf board. If the complainant is not satisfied, the complainant can appeal in the High Court as well as the Supreme Court. Even the Minister Kiran Rijiju ji, he also mentioned in the House yesterday that so many number of cases are pending. Waqf cases are pending in High Court, pending in Supreme Court, pending in District Court. They are pending because the challenges are accepted. They have accepted that it can be challenged. If it could not be challenged, it would be turned down at the first place. It would be dismissed at the first place. पहले ही खारिज हो जाता, वो सुनवाई हो रही है. That is why वो चैलेंज हो रहा है सुप्रीम कोर्ट में, हाई कोर्ट में. That is why उस पे hearing चल रही है. That is why pending है.
If I heard the minister correctly, किरण रिजिजू ने ये कहा कि पहले ये provision नहीं था to review the order of the Waqf Tribunal.
Exactly.
और
See
अब
the
वो
lies they are
provision
speaking
create
on
किया
such
जा
a
रहा है. अब
prestigious
वो
channel.
provision
नहीं.
to allow appeals
She
to
doesn't
higher
know.
courts.
She's
नहीं,
come on the
नहीं,
debate. She
नहीं.
has got
Oh,
no
Oh,
fact.
Mr. Daruwala, please talk. Don't talk about us. You please talk about your own things.
Each other.
See,
Nahid, finish your point in 10 seconds. I'll go to the other two panelists before I
This
finish.
provision is there in the Waqf board since the very beginning. This provision is there in the Waqf board since the very beginning that you can appeal to the Supreme Court. You can appeal. It's like a process. You go to the lower court. वहां सुनवाई नहीं होगी, वहां नहीं होता, then you go to the upper court and then you go to the uppermost court. Like it's a normal procedure. Please do not interrupt, Mr. Daruwala. This is not your drawing room. Do not interrupt.
Take it with Afridi ma'am before you speak nonsense.
Being a woman, I would have expected you to be happy about the fact that certain reforms that
I would be more than happy.
I'm telling you, you seem to be happy with status quo.
No,
जैसे है वैसे रहे,
I would.
आप तो वो कह रहे हो ना कि आप तो कह रहे हो कि ये जो रिफॉर्म, ये जो अमेंडमेंट्स लाया जा रहा है, ये हमारे हित में नहीं है. इट इज नॉट इन आवर इंटरेस्ट.
Yes.
इट हैज एन एजेंडा. आप तो ये नहीं कह रहे हो कि इसमें से एक दो चीजें ऐसा है जो मुझे
नहीं, वो इसलिए कह रहे हैं अफरीदा जी वो इसलिए पूरा डिसमिस, पूरा हम कह रहे हैं कि खराब है और इट इज अगेंस्ट अ पर्टिकुलर कम्युनिटी. बिकॉज अगर ये अच्छाई में उसमें रिफॉर्म्स कर रहे होते तो अच्छाई दिख रही होती ना, इनके खुद के अलाइज को दिख रही होती अच्छाई, इनके खुद के अलाइज में nobody can see.
If you have this victim complex, अगर आप हर चीज
No, there is no victim complex.
अगर आप सोचोगे, if you operate with a persecution complex, कि हमारे एरिया में कुछ कर रहे हो तो गलत ही कर रहे होंगे. नहीं अफरीदा जी biased हो जाएगा.
नहीं, there's no.
To look at it objectively, Nahid Khan.
No. See, the constitution. Afrida ji, the constitution has given everybody the right to practice one's own religion.
Yeah, you just
am I right or wrong? You cannot intervene in anybody's religion.
यही आपके
Waqf is a religious right. BJP cannot intervene.
A Waqf board which controls the property of Muslims who choose to donate property, right? So
they donate their own property. The government has nothing to do with it. BJP, Mr. Daruwala needn't get happy. वो एक हिस्सा उनको नहीं मिलने वाला.
जमीन तो देश के अंदर है ना, तो सरकार
तो देश के अंदर है क्या, तो क्या वो ये बीजेपी ले लेगी? देश के अंदर है तो बीजेपी टकार लेगी, बीजेपी ले लेगी, बीजेपी टकार लेगी. देश में है तो बीजेपी टकार ले, मिस्टर दारूवाला टकार ले, देश में तो टकार ले प्रॉपर्टी मुसलमानों की. That's not the way. No, that's not the. No, why they're not doing it in?
Has a thought process 100 years back.
This Daruwala has to not help the community. Only if we look at it objectively and say, okay, ये amendments आपके ठीक है, ये गलत है. But just for the heck of
मैंने तो आपको बताया अफरीदा जी, giving the power. I told you giving the power to DM. Is their agenda to take over the property of Muslims? I just told you.
Take over the property.
This
Do
is
not
one
speak
point
lies.
I need to leave. I have another debate. Thank you so much. I'm on times now, right now. Thank you.
Okay. All the best with your next discussion. You know, I don't want this shrill debate. You know, I wanted a very tempered, nuanced debate.
See how elegant is that man is talking.
But you know, Nahid Khan is a young woman and she has her opinion, and it's nice to hear that. I must say, it's good to hear everyone's voices. Frankly, Ali Daruwala ji, मुझे बताइए, जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर को इतना आप एम्पावर करने जा रहे हो, आप समझ सकते हो इसके डेंजर्स क्या हो सकते हैं?
No, ma'am.
I mean, when you empower these officers, it's not like all of them are above board or incorruptible.
No,
तो आप सोचिए, आप इससे आप क्या कर रहे हो? उनका
डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर
क्या हक उनके पास रहेगा कि कहीं और ऊपर रहेगा और उनको जस्ट जरिया बनाया
No,
जाएगा
Afridi ma'am.
कुछ भी करने के लिए?
No, no, Afridi
कहाँ
ma'am.
डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर का
totally
औकात
disagree.
बनेगा कुछ भी मुंह खोलने का औकात बनेगा एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर लेवल के ऑफिसर वो तो मिनिस्टर और
that's
उनके
totally-
ऊपर जो है और उनके ऊपर जो उन्हीं के इशारों में चलेगा ना.
No,
So the
Afridi
level of
ma'am.
mistrust is
No.
genuine to a certain
No,
extent,
please
isn't it?
understand. Let me put it pragmatically to you. A DM
Okay.
is a district magistrate, is a collector. Forget your Waqf land, your bill, your provision. He is running the entire city where he is
Are you
working.
telling me the collectors in this
Utmost
country are incorruptible, are paragons of virtue? I'm sorry, I would have to disagree with you that they are
No.
the repository of all good values and they are not corruptible
100%.
and they are going
They
to
are
do their
class
job
one
with
officers.
utmost
They are
integrity.
IAS officers.
They
Afridi
will
ma'am,
be
listen to
used
me.
as a pawn by the government to do what it chooses to do. That's why a district level officer has been chosen. It's an easy
Not a
way
district,
to
it's a district
control.
magistrate. It is a collector. See, I'll tell you why. The
A
district
collector, I beg your
collector,
pardon, collector, yeah. I meant a
collector.
collector, district
Yeah,
collector.
the
Yeah.
collector. You cannot speak in this term and in this language about a district collector. He is the king of the city,
I'm
ma'am.
talking about the
ZEENAT, ma'am.
reality on ground,
No,
sir.
this is not there. See, the city has been entrusted by the government. If you start doubting the autonomous power that the collector has, he has a power of a judge. You cannot have doubts on his decision. It's only not this Waqf land that he's handling. He's handling the entire city. The commissioner of police, the all the bureaucracy
Basically,
reports
government
to the collector.
interference on Waqf. That is what is being ensured,
Yeah,
right?
it is
जब
answering to your
सरकार
question
का
over there.
एक direct intervention रहेगा how Waqf is functioning. District
110%,
collector is a
ma'am. Let me
representation
complete.
of the representative of the government.
Reason, Afridi ma'am, just listen to the reason. See, the revenue, the understanding of the documentation, the demarcation, the mutation is very well understood by the district collector. He has the supreme power to understand revenue matters. It is
Okay.
but no one better than the collector can understand the demarcation, the mutation, and the why, the series of the chronology of how the land has come to the particular board. That is why a collector has been kept over there.
Okay. So
That
you
is
are saying an extra level of checks and balances has been
always
introduced.
intention of keeping a
An extra
collector.
layer of verification has been introduced, and a
Exactly.
district level officer will do the checks and balance. What is wrong with that? ZEENAT, Shaukat Ali, why do we have this sense of mistrust? Because if we look at it objectively, effectively, what is happening? An increased layer of verification. The district collector will ensure that the property is going legitimately going to the Waqf board. If that layer of extra caution is added for whatever reason, because there has been grievances as we heard some time back from another member, what is the harm? Why is it being so furiously opposed by the likes of Nahid Khan, the parties like Samajwadi Party and Congress Party?
Now, the point is, can that be challenged? You see, the red line drawn is that his word will be final, and that cannot be questioned. So that is you see, when there is something that is happening, and when something is as important, as a Waqf, a land is being assessed, there can be no question once he gives his judgment that this is how it is going to be. Now that is, I think, I would not agree with that at all. Yes, what I would agree with is that we cannot maintain status quo in the sense that there has been mismanagement, there has been ownership disputes, there have been these, cases pending, there have been, other small things that are happening. One has to look into that, and the community has to sit together. And the people who are the welfare people have to sit together, break their heads, and see to it that everything is set in the right direction. Now, that direction and the means and methods have to be evolved and have to be done. But to say that you hand it over to somebody and you cannot question that. Okay, I understand that the importance of the person that we have discussed,
Can I
and that he
please?
deals with so many factors. But to say that you cannot question that, and that line drawn, that is what I cannot agree with. And I do feel also, which I must express, though there are changes, there is need for improvement in everything. But to say that you're going to take this over and you're going to do it the way you want to do it, means that you're going to be able to control somebody else's land and property. So this is not tangible.
So
This is
you
not
are
an
saying
idea.
effectively, if what the government is proposing actually comes into force, the matter is with the JPC. You are saying effectively it comes under government control. Net, that is what is going to happen, and that is unfair to the community.
That's
Is
right.
that your
That is right.
basic point? Okay.
That
Ali
is right.
Darwala,
It cannot come
yes,
under that
yeah.
control because the
But you know
Constitution
what?
does not allow that.
Yeah, but this politics around the issue, it's quite interesting because the same Congress party that is now tooth and nail opposing it introduced certain reforms. So when it's convenient for politics, they do certain things, and when then it doesn't suit their politics, they suddenly backtrack. So, Zeenat ji, I want to know from you that how can you even trust the politicians to be fair and square when they're arguing for and against? They all have a certain vote bank constituency to cater to, and their entire argument is directed towards it. So it is very difficult to believe, that the points raised in objection also, are they real matters of serious concern, or are they again appeasement of one party or the other, one side or the other?
I think you're answering your own question.
Hmm.
One has to give it due consideration. You see, whatever the opposition may be saying and whatever they are analyzing, whatever their points of contention on this contentious issues are, have to be sifted and have to be looked into very carefully. And whatever the government is also saying has to be looked into, and then that decision has to be made. As far as politicians are concerned and their methodology or function is concerned, I would not like to comment because I have my own views on that, and they're rather sad views, so I wouldn't like to go public on that. But there's just one thing that I would definitely say, that India has a wonderful constitution. And what we are doing is not going by the constitution. There is no supremacy of the constitution. There is the supremacy of a person ruling and making the law, but the supremacy must be of the constitution. And if the constitution gives you the right to look after your own property, yes, if the Muslims have gone wrong in certain ways, if the Waqf board has not looked after, they have not modernized, they have not ensured, women's presence out there enough, 50% or more than that, or enhanced women's rights out there, or not giving them their dues, that I would say yes, they must consider that, and they must modernize themselves. It's time for the Muslims to do that. They have to modernize
So you're
themselves. They
saying
have to
the
look
onus
ahead.
lies with the community, and if there was a rethink within the community, this situation would not have probably even arose, because
That's
then
right.
we would have made those course corrections. Now it appears as if a handful of people are controlling the Waqf board, and there are people who are aggrieved, and that has somehow given an opportunity to the government to say that, listen, if there are people who are being meted out injustice through the Waqf board, we will intervene. And to a certain extent, yes, the arguments around trying to polarize elections ahead, all of that one can debate endlessly. But Ali Daruwala ji, closing comments from you on, overall it seems as if the government has an agenda, it has an appeasement policy in mind. There have been across board, across parties in opposition who are talking about it, the DMK, the Congress, they are all raising points about how this is targeting faith and freedom of religion, and it goes against
Yes,
the spirit of the Constitution. To that,
that's
what
right.
would be your response to address those concerns?
Correct. Afridi ma'am, I'll just
That is my
in my
main
closing
concern.
statement,
My name is Afrida.
Afrida ma'am,
Tell
just
us.
in my closing statement, I'd just like to highlight only 3 points. 3 points are what the people who are controlling this Waqf board, if you ever see the caliber of people, I'm sorry to say, I do not want to offend anybody, the caliber of people, their integrity, what we have seen for the last 50, 60 years, that little bit that I've seen, the quality of people is really, really questionable. Point number one. Point number two, we do not have elegant people like Zeenat ma'am controlling this. This just by fluke that we have got very few handful people like her who happen to be on the board. Such people are not given chances. I'm sure if such people are got and these things were controlled by the educated, by the pragmatic, the forward-thinking people, this would have not arisen. Point number two. Point number three, the Bharatiya Janata Party over here is a government. It's not a party. The bill that has been introduced is going to go to the JPC. It is going to be discussed threadbare. If there are any
Right.
flaws, we are not saying this is final and it is the end and it is endorsed and the president has passed the law. It will be discussed threadbare. It is a democratic country. If changes need to be brought, if there are certain reservations, the government will look into it. It is a democratic elected government and not not a over here is not some like a Hitler rule that has been going on over here. We will look
Right.
into it. At the end of the day, we want to do good to the community, and we have no intentions. The party has got no intentions of eating up. जैसा बोलते हैं, ये लोग जगह खा जाएंगे और डकार भी नहीं मारेंगे. This was a very wrong statement. BJP is working across the party over here. We do not care it's Hindu, Muslim, or anybody. Good needs to be done. There is only two castes for my prime minister, that is the have and the have nots. We are working for the have nots. That's all I'd like
Okay.
to
I'll
tell
come to
my.
you for closing comments. The lady in the panel
I
must
have
get
a
the last
flight.
word.
I have a
Yeah,
flight.
I will just read out a few comments. Like, let me put that on screen. Sameer H. Dalwai saying, "When are you planning to learn to look beyond religion in everything you see?" I think that
Exactly.
aligns with what Mr. Daruwala is saying. Another
Thank
comment
you.
says necessary, since the debate was about whether this is needless or necessary. So one comment saying this was necessary. Another comment saying legal expenses in High Court and Supreme Court is not affordable for common citizens. So I think that was said to the point about whether one can challenge it or not. One more comment saying necessary, Abhinav Papa. These are the comments that have come in and more coming in. I won't have time to read all of them. Yes, last word to you, Zeenat ma'am. Go ahead.
You see, my only contention and in this entire thing is that we have to go via and absolutely hold the constitution, supreme. We have to go by
Definitely.
the constitution, and also, you see, when Mr. Daruwala, with due respect, sir, I've heard you very carefully, and I do understand what you say, but there is one
He
thing
also gave you a
definitely
nice
that
compliment that we need more of gracious women like you to be part of, Waqf board and things like that,
Definitely.
in order to inspire confidence. I hope you heard that
yeah,
compliment that Mr. Daruwala was giving you.
thank you, sir. Thank you. I really appreciate and thank you for that. But what I'm trying to say, Mr. Daruwala, which I would want you to consider as a citizen of this country, like I am a citizen of this country, that when the Muslims stand up and when there is doubt that comes into the mind and when things are put into question, this definitely comes is what is the approach towards the minority community, sir? What has been the approach ever since 2014 till today? I want you to put your hand on your heart and say it. I don't want you to say it because I am asking you this question. Think about what I'm saying. You see, the thing is that there is no representation of Muslims in your parliament. There is no representation at all. Every issue that has been brought up is against the Muslims. There have been hate speeches which have not been overcome, which has not been debated, which have not been subdued. How do you expect the Muslim? There have been lynchings.
Yes.
There have been, there have been you, different kinds of things happening within to the community.
Correct.
What do you
Correct.
expect the community to think?
I'll
As a
address you.
liberal, sir, as a liberal, I have been with the government in against the triple talaq. I have fought for it against many other things. But when it comes to being fair, when it comes to being fair, my question is that this should not be. You should not put your gun on the shoulder of a community and shoot for vote bank purposes. You bring in issues, that from some way or the other, the issue is brought about, which has to do with the minority community, and that is only the Muslims. There is no other community that is brought in, sir. Even when we talk
Which
of the
is why
uniform civil
the
code, I
issue of
support.
polarization is brought in, which is why the intention is being questioned. Very well said, Zinat
Yes,
Shaukat Ali. I'm completely out of time on this, but I just want to say, as a closing remark, that yes, the track record, your reputation precedes you, is how people say it. So, in order to inspire confidence in the community, one must see something that will inspire that confidence. As of now, as Zinat Shaukat Ali told us, the sequence of events is such that it seems every single time the community is being targeted in a manner that does not inspire the sort of confidence. It's being done for their benefit. So there is a mistrust, undoubtedly, which is why questions are being raised. But the matter is not settled. It has gone to the Joint Parliamentary Committee. The matter will be discussed. So let's be very confident that there is a procedure in place, and no procedure has been bypassed. So we'll have to wait and watch. The jury is still out on that one. ZEENAT, Shaukat Ali, Ali Daruwala, thank you so much for joining me on Viewpoint this evening.
Thank you. Good
Thank
evening.
you so much.
Salam alaikum.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. My pleasure.